Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to discuss about the previous year paper which was held on 2022. Fine. And now SPCL also released the official syllabus of the for the computer science and MCA student who are peer in the SPCL IES, that is information system officer positions. So in this way you can see the syllabus. The first subject is digital logic. In digital logic, the main topics, that is Boolean algebra, complete combinational and sequential circuit. So this part is very important. If I talk about the combinational circuit, that is very important. Then minimization, number representation, and the computer arithmetic, basic fix, the fix and floating point. That is almost same as the gate syllabus. Talk about the next syllabus, that is the computer organization and architecture. Again, in the computer organization and architecture, almost 8 to 10 question was asked in 2022, and the syllabus is the complete machine instruction cycle, all the addressing modes, then ALU, data path, control unit, pipelining, memory, IO unit, the complete syllabus of the gate. Next, third is programming concept. Now, interestingly, they also include some of the extra part in the programming concept, that is the OOPS part, you can say. Fine. And other than that, you can see the Python programming, mobile app development, then web technology is also there, then JavaScript, Unix, Linux. But even though the programming concept covers all the major aspects, but keep in mind, my dear students, the level of question is very simple. So you need to just go through the basic idea about each and everything. Fine. Next, talk about the concept of data structure and algorithm. As usual, the same as the gate syllabus. Here, dynamic programming, greedy, divide and conquer, basic data structure, array, linked list, tag, queue, all. Next, moving on the operating system. So in case of operating system, same as Git syllabus, that is the CPU scheduling, system call, then inter-process communication, deadlock, synchronization, IO management. Again, the syllabus is huge, but keep in mind, if we talk about the previous year papers, with the help of previous year paper, we can see the level of question is very simple and very easy. Next syllabus or the next subject is database management system. Again, the same as Git, but some extra part also, that is NoSQL, vector, graph, and distributed. Here, ER model is there, normalization is there, SQL query is there, acid property of transaction logs, and query optimization basic techniques. So again, syllabus is huge, but you have to go like the basic idea about each and everything, but not the in-depth or not so much complex entities we need to read out. Again, next subject is the section 7, that is concept of computer network. Here you can see in this case also the basic things, ARP, DSCP, ICMP, data link layer, and all the same syllabus as Gate. There is nothing extra in this computer network. But if I talk about the level of questions, we can see now, right now we are now, after this discussion, we will go for the PYQ, and you will see how easy the questions was in the previous PYQ. And next is information security and cyber law. Very important. You may face at least 5 problems from this area. That is the basic attacks, then data privacy, compliance, and understanding of cyber law, ethical hacking, and all these concepts. And I think the last part is emerging technology, which you can see nowadays in each and every exam. They will ask the major or the basic questions related to the cloud computing, related to the big data, AI, ML, data mining, all these things. So that is the syllabus. So you can see we have the 9 sections. In 9 sections, if I talk about majorly the 3 sections which are not the part of GATE, that is emerging technology, information system, and programming concept of OOPS and Java and APIs, or these concepts, React. Other than that, the syllabus is same. But the good thing is now they remove the topic that is the theory of computation and compiler. Previously, they asked some questions from this area, even good number of questions, almost 15 questions from this area, that is theory and computations. But now they are not. They just remove the syllabus of theory and computation. Theory of computation. Fine. Let's start with the PYQ session, my dear students. So I'm going to share with you. I think everyone is able to see everything. Everything is able to see my screen. And now, my dear students, we are going to start the PYQ here. The first PYQ you can see even that is from the TOC part. Still, we we are trying to solve some of the questions of TOC, even though right now this is not the part of our syllabus, the current syllabus, but still this is an important topic. And and even with the help of this you can identify the level of complexity. The first problem is, which of the following language is regular? You need to find out the regular language. Now see, WWR, where W belong to A comma B whole star, and WR is the reverse of my string. So the reverse part is handled by the PDA but not by the FA, finite automata. So it is not regular language. Again, B and AN, a comparison. Again, an infinite comparison are here. Again, this is going to be tackled by PDA only. Then B ki power N, A power M. Now, N and M, there is no relationship between N and M. They are independent. It means this here N is greater than 1, but nothing about M. It means it is B plus A a star. This is the language, and for that we can easily make a finite automata so that this language is regular. And the next one is again a b a power n, a comparison that same number of a's has to be there. Again, it is going to be tackled by PDA. So here the answer is wrong. The correct answer is C, my dear students. C is the correct answer. Fine. Let's move on the next part. The next question is, in an operating system, ready queue is maintained by which memory? So in an operating system, my dear students, ready queue, if I talk about the ready queue, if I talk about running queue, these are there in the primary memory or in the main memory. So the answer is D. Fine. Next, the third part is a combinational circuit has takes two 3-bit number. It takes two 3-bit numbers and and as input, and its output is the sum of these number. How many output lines should be there? Now, if I talk about the output lines, again very easy problems you can see. Can you just tell me any idea about this one? So the answer is C. Answer is C. It is a digital combinational circuit problem. So a combinational circuit which will take two 3-bit number. So 1 bit, two 3-bit number. This is a 3-bit number, and output is the sum. In the maximum case, you can see if all the 3 bits are 1, then sum is what? This is what? 7. This is what? 7. Yes or no? 7, 7, 14. So you required one extra bit. So output has to be 4 lines. Okay. So answer is C. Next. Which of the following statement is correct about chained matrix multiplication problem? We know this is the standard problem of dynamic programming. The time complexity of dynamic programming algorithm is n square? No. It is n cube. We know that the matrix chain multiplication time complexity is n cube. N square log n? No. And n log n? No. So the correct answer is B, because the time complexity of MCM, M's matrix chain multiplication is theta of n cube. Next. Which of the following statement is correct about register addressing mode? So my dear students, we have different type of addressing mode: the direct addressing mode, indirect addressing mode, then implied, all these things. But in the case of register addressing mode, in everything is there in the register. So read the second option. In register addressing mode, the operand is stored in CPU register. Very good. Yes. Whose address is stored in the register field itself? Yes. So answer is B. But if I talk about A, C, and D, you can see. Let's go with the D. In register addressing mode, the operand is stored in CPU register, whose address is stored in accumulator. No, that is also be there in the register field. In register addressing mode, the operand is stored in the memory. No, it is in the register itself. In register addressing mode, the operand is stored in the instruction itself. Again, it is wrong. So the correct answer is the answer number 5. Next. You can see the level of complexity. Questions are so straightforward and so simple. Hardly it will take 30 seconds to solve. So what will be the maximum number? It is talking about the maximum number of link in a mesh topology. In a mesh topology, we know that each station or each device is connected to each other the all the remaining devices directly. That is called mesh topology. So if we have 10 node, my dear students, that means they are connected with what? Fine. 10 nodes, each node is connected with itself, okay, the other remaining nodes, okay. So 10 into 9, 90 by 2, the answer is 45, because each node is connected with all the remaining nodes. And why by 2? Because A is directly connected with B, then B is also connected with A, because we are counting the same as 2 times. So answer is C, 45. Which of the following type of constraints states the value of primary key cannot be null? That is entity integrity constraint. In the foreign key constraints, we have referential integrity constraints and reference integrity constraints. In the case of domain, value has to be the value of each cell or each column or each attribute has to be within their domain. Key constraints means it should be key, not repeated. But entity integrity constraint means the value of key cannot be null. So you need to keep in mind the difference, major difference between key constraints and integrity constraints. Okay. So here the answer is D, not the C. Many of students are confused in C. Next, talk with a very simple problem. So here you can see if the page of logical address space is 4096, if the size of logical address space 4096, if I talk about 4096, how you can say total number of bits? If I talk about 2 key power 10, which is 1024, 2 key power 11 is 8402, 2 key power 12 is 4096. Though here the logical address space is of 12 bit. Now it is divided into two parts, P and D. Page size is 512. So it means D will take 9 bits. So remaining 3 bits are for P field. Then the high order bits of logical addresses designate the page number. So the page number, total number of pages is tells by P, and the size of each page is designated by D. Fine. So total number of page number we need to find out. So answer is C, but not B. Keep in mind. D tells the page size. But question is talking about page number. Next. In TCP/IP dash layer protocol, ensure the packet arrives in sequence. So flow control is taken care by data link layer and the transport layer, because data link layer is not the options one thing, then swapping acknowledgement of data and retransmission of low space. Here the answer is A, internet no, network layer no, physical layer no, application layer no, because here the flow control error control is taken care by transport layer. So answer is A. Which of the following statement is true about shift registers? So, if I talk about the property of shift register, so you can see a shift register is designed by using flip flop and basic gate. Absolutely true. That is the shift register, only register we can design with the help of flip flop. The information stored within a register can be transferred with the help of shift register. Absolutely true. That is the main functionality of shift register. So both statements are true. This is a very simple problem you can solve very easily. Which of the following is the incorrect result? Fine, I'm not going to solve this one. Which of the following you can solve? Corresponding 5348 minus 2873, that are in the base 9. So these are in the base 9, and if you subtract, then you can easily get the value. In the base 10, we are how we can subtract, we know. Fine. And the good thing is you can see from A and C options the answer is 0. It means 8 minus 3. In case of decimal 10 base system, 8 minus 3 is 5. Fine. But here it is not the case. Find 8 minus 3. Now, now you can see, so talk about 5, 3, 4, 8, subtract 2, 8, 7, 3. Now see, my dear students, because it's base 9 and all the values are between 0 to 8. So 8 minus 3 is 5. Now 4 minus 7 not possible. We need to take a carry. If we take a carry, then it becomes what? Fine, it's not 14, now it's 13. So 13 minus 7 is 6. So here we have now 2. 2 minus 8, again not possible. We need to take a carry. Fine. So 12 minus 8, sorry, 11, not 12 here, now 11. 11 minus 8 is now 3. Fine. Now here is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So 2365. This is the right answer and in the base 9, and accordingly you need to convert it and you will find out that B will be the incorrect options. Again, this is a very simple problem. Which of the following is a regular grammar? We need to find out the regular grammar for this expression. So the expression is A, B, whole star A. It means repeatedly we have to do this task. So it has to be A, B, S. Fine. And S has to be terminated by A. Which is the right option? So C we can see the right options, my dear students. This is wrong. Even this is not the regular grammar. Fine. And here it is generating A star B, which is again wrong. And here the last one is even not terminating. Fine, that's the problem. So answer is C, my dear students. So you can see hardly it will take 10 to 15 seconds, not more than that. Yes, in the last problem of the number system, it will take some time. Again, very, very simple problem. Given sigma, where sigma is the set of symbols, my dear students, and A and B belongs to sigma, then which of the following is not a primitive? We have basically primitive. Suppose that my sigma is A comma B, then the primitive regular expression is epsilon, sorry, phi, epsilon, A and B. These are four on the primitive. And now with the help of these primitive, we can make any regular expressions. So here A is the primitive one, B is the primitive one, phi is the primitive one, but D is not a primitive one. So not a primitive. So the correct answer is in this case D, my dear students. Let's talk about the next problem statement. Which of the following statement is correct about context-free language? So for every context-free language, there is a regular expression. For every context-free language, there is a regular expression. No, we cannot say. For regular language, for every regular language, there is a regular expression. For every context-free language, there is a yes, B is true, because for context-free, to accept context-free language, we use push-down automata. Every context-free language is also a regular language. No, every regular is context-free. Every context-free language, there is a regular grammar. No. So answer is B only. For every context-free, we have a context-free grammar, but we cannot give a guarantee of regular grammar. Now, which of the following cannot be solved by a greedy approach? We know that 0-1 knapsack is not a greedy approach. This is solved by dynamic programming, but fractional knapsack, you can solve it using 0-1 knapsack. Minimum spanning tree, yes, with the help of Prince and Kruskal. Shortest part, Dijkstra, fractional knapsack, greedy. So C is the right answer, my dear students. C, you cannot solve with 0-1 knapsack. Next. Again, regular grammar questions. Now we are not discussing this one because this is now not the part of our syllabus. But again, question was very simple. Now, which of the following is represented by using double line diamond in entity? See, my dear students, this is one entity for that E1 or employee. Now, this is one weak entity set, my dear students, which is represented by double line rectangle. That is the children. And now we have a relationship set, which is again weak relationship set, I can say, which is denoted by the diamond. And this relationship set is called identifying relationship. And suppose that employee has a child. Fine. In this case, this is the identifying relationship, and the question is talking about double line diamond. So this is the right answer. So D. So keep in mind, my dear students, in this case, weak entity A is not the right answer because this is the weak entity set. Weak entity. Fine, but not identifying relationship. Next, which of the, it's a digital again question, which of the following is a Boolean expression of A plus A bar? We know that A plus A bar, by putting the value of A as 0, 0 plus 1 is 1 only. Fine. Or if you put A as 1, then 1 plus 0 is 1 again. So the answer is D. Very simple. Now you can see how much time it will take to solve. Which of the following provide the services of an operating system to the user? That is system call only. Standard answer, system call. Segmentations, virtual memory, demand paging are related to the memory concept with the help of system call, which provide the services of API. Now, which of the following is and are optional statement? See, my dear students, if I talk about optional statement, generally, where is the optional statement? Because the format of queries, we need to write select something from the table name, something where uses the conditions. Fine. But in case my if I'm not talking about the condition is used to filter out the respective rows. Now this part is optional, but even in some of the database, from is also optional. But keep in mind, in our case, from is not optional, so only three. C is optional. Again, programming question very simple. If you know the basic idea about the looping, it is saying that which of the following for loop is an infinite looping. Infinite looping means it is not going to reach to the termination state. So for I is greater than n, I greater than 1. Now suppose that, my dear students, I value is n. Now, if you are incrementing next time I, if you are incrementing I, it means I will be n plus 1, but it never reaches to 1, my dear students. So D is the right answer. But other than that, you can see all are true. Fine. So D is the right answer, which leads to infinite loop. Now it is again related to the cache memory. Its speed is less than the main memory. No, cache memory is faster than the main memory. It is an auxiliary memory. No, not auxiliary memory. It directly communicate with the input devices. There is no such concept of directly communicating with the input devices. It is fast, small memory. Yes, it is fast but small, and placed between CPU and memory, CPU and main memory. Yes, the nearest memory with the CPU is the register. After that we have cache, and then we have main memory, and then we have secondary memory. So D is the right option. And my dear students, keep in mind we already started the batch. You can just fill the Google form, which is there attached in this video. And already a free WhatsApp group is there. You can join that WhatsApp group to get the important content. And if you want to interested to join the batch, then you can just need to contact to the executive. We already started a dedicated batch for HPCL. Which of the following statement is incorrect about three address instruction? In the three address instructions, we have opcode and operand. The three addresses are there, my dear students. In three address instructions, the first address must be a register. No, that is not absolutely true always. Now the instruction add R1 A comma B. Now R1 is a registered destination address, A is a memory, B is a memory. Now the content of memory of A, content of memory of B is going to be add and store in register R1. And yes, this is three address instruction. The Cyber 170 computer, absolutely true. In it, each address field refer either a register or a memory. Yes, absolutely true. So you can see A is the wrong answer, and question is talking about incorrect options. So A is the incorrect options. Fine. And now the next, again you can see the level of complexity. Very simple problem. Which of the following data structure may be used in DFS? In DFS we use stack. In BFS, breadth first search, we use queue. So D is the right answer. Again, in the TOC question, we are not going to discuss this question. Yes, very straightforward. Tailnet is the right answer. Tailnet provide a user interface through which two hosts can communicate on a character by character or line by line. That is the main functionality of Tailnet. Fine. So A is the right answer. Again, TOC very simple. You can easily identify which is the correct options. Fine. But because TOC is not the part of syllabus, hardly it will take 30 seconds to solve this problem. Now, very simple. Again, very simple problem. We have three type of scheduler. The in an operating system, the job scheduler is called the long-term scheduler. Dispatcher task is to dispatch from the ready state the process from the ready states. Fine. So here the answer is long-term scheduler. So term scheduler schedule the work between the new and the ready state. A network on the internet has a subnet mask. So subnet mask is given to you 255.255.240. 240. So how you can write 240? Now see. So 255, it means we have 8 ones, that is straightforward. Again 255, that is again the 8 ones. Fine. Now how to write 240? Do it fast. Can you just tell me how to write 240? It's very simple how to write 240. Can I say 240? It means 4 times 1, 4 times 0. Fine. So now you can identify easily. So you can see here 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 8 1, then again 8 1, then 240. 240 means 4 ones, and then rest 4 are zeros, and then the remaining are zeros. Fine. So now what is the maximum number of hosts it can handle? Maximum number of hosts, how many zeros? These are 12 zeros. So 2 keep power 12. Fine. So 2 keep power 12 is what? 4096. 4096. Even 4096 minus 2 is there, but sorry, because it is a class C, we are yes subtracting 2, but because 4094 is not the answer, so right answer is D. Next, which of the following is incorrect about merge sort? Very simple, hardly take 10 seconds. The time complexity of merge operations. Merge operation is to merge two sorted array into a new array which will take order of n time. So this is wrong. The time complexity of its merge operation is theta of n. Correct. Divide and conquer approach. Very good. Merge sort uses divide and conquer. The time complexity of merge sort is n log n. Yes. So which is incorrect? A is incorrect, my dear students. Next, which of the following statement related to thread is true? Now talking about the thread part, we can easily identify which of the following is true. There can be more than one thread inside a process. Yeah, we have a process P. In each process, we have multi-thread also. Thread is often referred to as a lightweight process. Yes, because it is one to many. One process, many thread. Thread is often referred to as lightweight process. Yes, that is the standard definition of a thread only. So both statements are true. Now, big problem, what will be the average turnaround time and average waiting time if the arrival time and the bus time of process are as follows? Now they are not because mentioning the any of the CPU scheduling, so we are considering only first come first serve. So in the case of first come first serve, you can see if I draw the Gantt chart at time 0, P1 is arrives and it uses 2 unit of time. Fine, so P1 is completed. And now P1 to P2, there is P2 to P3, there is no process arrives. Now let's talk about P3. At time 3, so P2 arrives, so it will take 1 unit of time. So P2, that is 4. Now again, there is no process at that moment of time. Then P3 occurs at 5, which will take 6 unit of time. So it ends at 11. Now you can easily find out the average turnaround time and average waiting time. Fine. So what is turnaround time? I'm giving you the formula. Turnaround time is completion time minus burst time. That is completion time minus burst time. And talking about the waiting time is what is the formula for, oh, sorry, waiting time is turnaround. Sorry for that. Here, completion time minus arrival time, my dear students. And in the case of waiting time, it is turnaround time minus bus time. Using this formula, you can identify and you will find out that D will be the right answer. So hardly it will take 1 minute to solve this problem. Very simple, very easy problem. Now, which of the following addressing mode is used in zero addressing instruction in a stack? So it is straightforward talking about implied addressing mode that uses the zero address instructions. The register uses some address format R1, R2, R3. It may be of one address, two address, three address. Register indirect is also uses some addresses. So B is the right answer. Implied addressing mode. Because in the stack organized computer, zero address instruction is do not explicitly specify the operands. Okay, so operand in the stack machines, operand are automatically taken from the top of the stack, my dear students, and the which whatever the operations which are performed on the topmost element, and the result is again pushed back onto the stack. That's why implied addressing mode is the correct answer. In register addressing mode, we are using the registers, my dear students. Fine. And see here. So uses register explicitly, my dear students. In the immediate addressing mode, operand is also the part of your instructions. And in the case of register indirect addressing mode, register contain the address of operand, my dear students. Next. Which of the following C++ code segment does not print 1 to 10? Very simple. If you know the looping concept, you can easily identify the right options. Here, let's talk about, because the answer is D. D is what? Int A equal to 1, while A less than 10. Here we are not talking about less than equal to 10. That's why it only prints 1 to 9, my dear students. So D is the right answer, which is not printing 10. Other than that, if you check it, all are printing 1 to 10. So very simple problem. Even this type of problem can solve by 8th standard student also. How many half adder and basic gates will be needed to implement full adder? So my dear students, to implement full adder, we know that we require 2 half adder and 1 OR gate. Fine. So if I talk about the sum, in the full adder, sum will be A XOR B. And if I talk about the carry, C1 carry, that is A dot B, that is carry 1. Fine. That is the input for half adder, first half adder. If I talk about the input for second half order, the sum is S and the carry is C2. And finally, the carry out, if I talk about, which is C1 plus C2. That's why we require plus. Plus means OR gate, my dear students, two half adder and one OR gate. So we will discuss why, how is it, but when we will talk about the, when we will read about the digital logic subjects. That's why, my dear students, keep in mind already batch is started. If you are interested, you can just talk to the executive and please join the free WhatsApp group where you will find regularly the important or the content, PYQ content, important problems, MCQ content. Now, next is which, what is the dotted decimal notations? It is talking about the dotted decimal notations of IP address whose hexadecimal. Hexadecimal is given to us. That is C22F1582. So please write down the value of C2 because it is the hexadecimal. C2, C is 12. Fine. So 12 into 16 plus 2, that is 194. Next 2F. F is again 15. So 2 into 16 plus F is 47. 15 is 1 into 16 plus 5, that is 21. And 82 is 8 into 16 plus 2, 130. Now, if you represent 194 plus 47 plus 1, so B is the right answer, my dear students. It is just directly a conversion, nothing else. Very simple problem. TOC problem we will skip because that is not now the part of our syllabus. Now, very easy again, very easy problem, my dear students. Here you can see it is talking about the which of the following greedy algorithm may use disjoint set data structure. In Huffman coding, we are using queue, priority queue data structure, again priority queue array, again priority queue array. Here in the Kruskal, we are using disjoint set data structure. Find union concept, my dear students. So D is the right answer. Now, which of the following has one entry for each block, that is for file allocation table FAT, and is indexed by block number? Yes, FAT. Virtual for virtual, if I talk about virtual memory, it mainly refers to the memory management using disk as an extension of RAM. Talking about memory page, a fixed block of main memory, not disk block tracking. Talking about memory segments, it is the segmentation technique. So right answer is file allocation table. Again, it's a TOC question, hardly will take 10 seconds to solve. Very easy, very straightforward problem. Now, yes, again the COA question, that is which of the following statement true about the instruction format? The operation code field of the instruction specifies the operation to be performed. Yes, the mode field stores the address of the operand. No, that is wrong. So only one is true. The operation code of the instruction specifies the operation to be performed. That is true. Like the opcode tells the CPU which operation to execute, such as add, sub, load, store. And if I talk about the mode field store the address of the operand, which is false. The mode field mainly specify the addressing mode. That means how the operand address should be interpreted, that it may be the immediate, direct, indirect, etc. Fine. Next, which of the following statement is incorrect about the computer memory? The main memory communicate with the auxiliary memory through an IO processor. Very good, that's true. The program and data currently needed by the processor are transferred from the main memory to the auxiliary memory. No, the program and data currently needed by the processor are transferred from main memory to auxiliary memory. That is false. So the required program and data are transferred from the auxiliary memory, that is disk, to the main memory, not the other side. Keep in mind. So this is wrong. The speed of the main memory is greater than the auxiliary memory. Absolutely true. The auxiliary memory means secondary memory. The main memory communicates directly with the CPU. Yes, even though there is in between cache is there, but still it can directly communicate, we can say. Which of the traversing order of the binary search trees? See, it is talking about BS tree. So in order is always sorted in nature. That's why even though it is not guaranteed that it is non-decreasing or BST, yes, BST is sorted in ascending order. Yes, non-decreasing means ascending. Absolutely true. So D is the right answer. That in order of BST is always keep in mind, my dear students, in that is sorted. So see, in the last time, almost 20, nearby 20 problem asked in the 20, not even 20, then at least 15 are there from the TOC subject. When a computer system needs to access the operating system kernel, so it uses system call. Fine, my dear student, the right answer is A. So a system call, if I talk about, is a mechanism by which a user program requests services from the operating system kernel. So the user program, keep in mind, cannot access the kernel directly. They use system call to request services. It may be service related to the file operations, process creation, memory management, and device access. If I talk about the standard example of system call, that is open a file, read a file, then write a file. These are the system call operations, or fork to create a process. Fine. So these are the basic system calls, my dear students. CUI is character user interface. GUI is graphical user interface, my dear students. Now, which of the following statement is correct about the FO open function? So if I talk about in the C programming language, the FO open function is used to open a file, my dear students. So it returns type is void, that is no. Fine. So return type is file star, my dear students. If I basically I talk about the structure, I need to write down the structure here. The structure is, you can see the file star f open const char star file name const char star mod. So this is the format, my dear students. So you can see here return type is not void. Now B, it accepts two parameter, absolutely true, where the first parameter is the file name and second parameter should be int type. No, that because due to this part it is wrong. It accept three parameter wrong. It's accept two parameter where both parameters should be char star type. Absolutely true. Very important problem, my dear students. So D is the right answer. How many BST we can run from the key 1, 2, 3? The answer is 5. So BST means left hand side smaller, right hand side greater or equal. Fine. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. It is a BST. Then 2, 1, 3 is a BST. Then 3, 1, 2 is a BST. Then 1, 3, 2 is a BST. So these are the 5 BST, my dear students. The answer is 5. How I can draw, because we already covered this type of content in our classes. So you can just by seeing directly, you can mark the answer, my dear students. Which of the following network error condition is and are detected and reported by ICMP, Internet Control Message Protocol? Answer is both, that is drop packet as well as connectivity failure. In these two situations, the ICMP send the message. Next, which of the following is or a routing protocol? See, my dear student, RIP and EGP both are routing protocol. EGP means exterior gateway protocol. It's a routing protocol which used between different autonomous system. RIP is routing information protocol. Here, distance vector algorithm is one of the RIP algorithm. So both 1 and 2. Again, Turing machine questions. TOC not the part of our syllabus. Now, full form of TLB. Now, even though you can see the syllabus of operating system, the whole Git syllabus, now you can see the complexity of the problem. Two questions from system call, one question from scheduler, one question from finding the average and waiting time, one question is from full form. Translation look aside buffer. So, translation look aside buffer block, not block, but buffer. So, B is the right answer, my dear students. Just hardly 10-second problem. Here, consider a system with byte addressable. Okay. Logical address is of 32-bit. Fine. So it is of 32-bit. Page size is 4 kilobyte. Page size is equal to 4 kilobyte. Okay. And page table entries is 4 byte each. Memory is byte addressable. What will be the size of page table? What is the size of page table? Page table size is equal to number of pages, number of entry in page table into size of each page table, size of each entry, I can say. Fine. So if you multiply it, fine. Now, page size is, what is page size? 4 kilobyte. Find a size of each page is 4 kilobyte. 4 kilobyte means 4 into 1024 is equal to 2 to power 12. Fine. So we require 12 bits, my dear students, for this part. Now the number of pages, we have logical address 32-bit, page number bits is 12. So 32 minus 12. Number of pages, that is 20. So here it is 20, here it is 12. Now the number of pages are 2 to power 20. So if I want to calculate the page table size, so page table size is 2 to power 20 into size of each is 4 byte, which is approximately 4 MB. So 4 MB is the right answer, my dear students. Now again the question from COA. Which of the following statement is true about the relative addressing mode? So the correct answer in this mode, the effective address of the operand is computed by adding the content of the program counter, absolutely true, to the address part of the instructions. Yes, A is true. In this mode, the address part of the instruction may be either positive, negative. Yes, my dear student, that is again also true. So in this case, keep in mind the effective address is equal to program counter plus address field. Fine. And the positive means we need forward jump. And negative means backward jump. Fine. So both are true, my dear students. Next. Which of the following is the number of bits in binary equivalent? So what is this? We know this is 8 only. Hardly 2 second questions. 1000. Okay. That is 8. So it is 2 ki power 0, it is 2 ki power 1, it is 2 ki power 2, it is 2 ki power 3. Now, which of the following combinational circuit may be implemented using only a XOR gate and one AND gate? So that is half adder. We know in half adder we have sum and carry, and the sum is A XOR B and the carry is A dot B. So we required AND gate and XOR gate. How many zeros and one should be there in the binary equivalent of decimal 992? So if I talk about 992, you can write 992 as 1024 less than 1024. So 1. So again, yes, we need to add the 5. We already had 512. Then we add this one. Then fine. That is the case, my dear students. So you can see the number of ones, 5, number of zeros. Sorry, number of zero is 4, not 5. This is equivalent of 992. Wait a second. One more zero is there. So 5051, my dear students. So D is the right answer. Which of the following statement is correct? The one at about one address instruction. Just read out the D option. The one address instruction A is equivalent to accumulator. Accumulator plus one address is in the memory, where MA denotes the operand at memory address A. Fine. So D is the right address because in the case of one address instruction, one operand is explicitly mentioned in the instruction, while the other operand is implicitly stored in the accumulator. That is the basic definition of one address instruction, my dear students. One is in the accumulator, one is in the memory. So D is the right answer. Which of the following needs connection oriented service? Now, all these three in the file transfer, we required connection oriented service because it requires reliable data delivery. So, we have to make the connections. The second one is remote login. A remote login protocol mainly uses Telnet, which require continuous connection for interactive communications. So remote login is also the true. Next one is public switch telephone network, PSTN. That is also required dedicated circuit connection. So all are three, my dear students, all required the connection oriented service. Next, RARP. Very good. RARP maps Ethernet address that is of 48 bits. We know IP address 32 bits. The task of RARP address is to map the Ethernet to or the MAC to IP. That is the main task of RARP. And in the case of RAP, ARP, not RAP, ARP. That from IP to MAC. Fine. Next, again, very important, we have a relation schema ABC with A is with all the attributes are atomic and single valued. It means no multi-valued. It means it is already in one NF. If A is the only one candidate key, now this line is very important. Then which of the following statement is not true? R1 may or may not be BCNF. It is talking about may or may not. That has to be that is true. R is 1NF because all the values are atomic in nature. True. R1 is second normal form because candidate key is only A and no partial dependency exists for A. That's why. But C R1 is definitely 3NF. No, we can't say like this. So C is the incorrect option. Some of the questions are not there in this PDF. Fine. So again, very simple operating system questions. If you find out, you will get the answer as very simple. Again, the question is from paging logical address space 1024, page size 256. Then again, page offset they are talking about. So logical address is 1024. It means 2 key power 10. Fine. 10 bit. So it is divided into page size 256. Page size is 256 address unit. Then the lower bits to designate the page offset. So 8 here, 2 here. So page offset is 8. So answer is 8, my dear students. So here P and D, P tells the total number of pages, D tells the offset or size. Again, very simple. Which of the following relational algebra operation is not commutative? So division is not commutative, my dear students. Keep in mind. Union A union B is equal to B union A. Again, intersection and again natural. These are commutative in nature, but division is not. A divided by B not equal to B divides A. Fine. Next, which of the following is not a transaction control commands? TCL. So grant is not a TCL, my dear students. So commit is a TCL, rollback is a TCL. Commit tells it saves the transactions permanently. Rollback is undo the changes, save point, setup point within a transaction to which you can roll back. Fine. So grant is a DCL, my dear students. Data control language. TOC question. Now, which of the Strassen's multiplications? It is divide and conquer. Yes, the time complexity of Strassen's is to multiply two matrices generally will take n cube time, but it will take n upon 2.81. So then the recurrence relation is T of n is equal to 7 T n by 2 plus 18 n square. N square is the time combining cost, my dear students. So both are true. Both A and B are true. Again, TOC question, my dear students. Here you can see, my dear students, consider supplies relationship with associate with the supplier, project and product. Okay, here supplier, we have the supplier, now project and product. And project. These are the three entities which are related with supplies. So it is talking about degree. So degree is 3 only because with the relationship set, 3 entities are related, my dear students. Fine. So the degree means number of entities participating. A transaction is said to be dash state if execute all its operations successfully. Committed state. After committing, everything is stored in the permanent storage. The logical address generated by CPU, we already CPU generate the logical address, and which is divided into two part, P and D, both page number and the offset. So B is the right answer, my dear students. Which of the following statement is correct about 7 segment to BCD code converter combinational circuit? So we will discuss here in the our permanent lectures, regular lectures. Basically, the task of BCD is to convert decimal digit into 7 segment to BCD code, my dear students. So C is the right answer. If I talk about the input lines, the A, B, C, D, E, F, G are the input lines, and output has 4 lines. That is BCD code for digit 0 to 9. So like a 7 segment to BCD converter mainly is a combinational circuit that converts the signal from a 7 segment display into a binary coded decimal representation, my dear students. Now, which of the following statement is true about asynchronous counter? So, my dear students, talk about the asynchronous counter. In asynchronous counter, all the flip-flop are triggered with the same clock simultaneously. No, wrong. In asynchronous counter, only the first flip-flop receives the external clock, and the output of one flip-flop acts as the clock input for the next flip-flop, my dear students. Therefore, we can say flip-flop do not trigger simultaneously. Yes, second is true. Asynchronous counter is slower than the synchronous counter because there is a propagation delay. That's why only second is true, but first is false. Which of the following relational algebra operations is unary? Projection. Because in the project operations, we are going to select the final thing which we needed or final columns which we needed in the final output. Division, we required multiple tables, Cartesian product, binary operations, natural join, again, binary operations, my dear students. When multi-threads are executed in parallel at the same time, it is called multi-threading. That is the standard definition of multi-threading. So, okay, my dear students, in this way you can see the if I conclude paper questions, level of question is very easy. Level of questions is easy. You can easily solve all the questions within 30 to 50 seconds, my dear students. Most of the problem I can say. And even in the last paper, POC, they ask almost 15 questions, but this time they just discard or remove this subject and add 3 more subject. I can say three. One is emerging technology, and one is the part of like the attacks, and one is the part of oops programming, JavaScript, Java, and all this stuff, my dear students. So, my dear students, we already started our batch, and you can see if you can also join our WhatsApp group, free WhatsApp group, where regularly we put some content, and then you can find out some like if you want to join, then you can just contact to our executive. If you have any doubt, join our free WhatsApp group and ask your doubt. We will discuss. One-to-one communication is there. Thank you. Thank you so much, my dear students.